What's up guys, Rogue9 here, and if you follow me on Twitter, you will have seen that back in December, I had the chance to get a hands-on experience of some of the brand new Division 2 content. I really enjoyed playing through the story of The Division back in the day, and I'm really looking forward to number 2. So let me tell you a little bit about the Division 2 and show you what it's all about. It is late summer 2016. The quarantine barriers around New York City, set up during the previous winter, have been unsuccessful in containing the deadly dollar flu, and it has now spread throughout the rest of the United States and even the world, decimating the human population. Cities suffered the same fate as New York. One by one, they fell into anarchy as desperate groups of people banded together and did anything they deemed necessary in order to ensure their survival, while others used the opportunity to attempt to seize power for themselves. But for almost all of them, even the most extreme measures were not enough. Now, 7 months later, the dust is beginning to settle, and in the absence of day-to-day life, nature has already begun to take over the damaged cities. Washington, D.C. is a shadow of its former self, but those who survived the spread of the virus and the riots that followed are now starting to rebuild their lives. They're grouping together in settlements throughout the desolate city, many just ordinary people doing their best to get by, but some forming lawless bands of dangerous outlaws, and it will be our task as Division agents to return order to the city. So that's basically the setting, and I'm not going to spoil anything for you with any further story details. The summary is that it's no longer dreary old winter, but summer instead, and we will get to explore a version of Washington that is a few months down the line from the initial outbreak. In terms of gameplay, you can of course expect a similar experience compared to The Division, but with all of the lessons learned by the developers over the 2 years that they continue to support and update the first game available at day 1, and this goes especially for the PvP and endgame elements of The Division 2. Just like the first game, the new one will offer an open world with a story campaign that can be played either solo or cooperatively with friends. There will be 3 dark zones that offer a semi-PvP experience with greater risk but also greater rewards, and finally there will also be 2 separate dedicated PvP modes, Domination and Skirmish, a feature that was added into the first game but quite a while post-launch. The endgame experience for The Division 2 was something that the developers focused on from the very beginning, and I will be able to give you a full breakdown and detailed insight into that at some point in the future. At this stage, I know that there will be some very challenging 8-man raids that players can go on, but more on that in a future video. For now, let me tell you a little bit about how the PvP experience for the new game will differ from the first one. As I've already hinted at, instead of having a single dark zone in the middle of the map, which I personally always saw as a little bit of an obstacle in the past, there will now be 3 separate and smaller dark zones spread around the map, one in the northwest, one in the east, and one in the south. The standard experience in these dark zones will differ from the first game in that they are designed to offer an intense and challenging experience while ensuring more fairness compared to The Division 1. To achieve this, the dark zones in the new game will feature a normalization system that compresses the power of the player's weapons and abilities. You will no longer come across opponents that have created certain character builds or upgraded their weapons in a way that makes them far more powerful than you. An innovation that was introduced with patch 1.8 in the first game was that you no longer go rogue by simply shooting at your opponents, but instead you had to manually switch your status. This change has carried over into The Division 2, and there will also be environmental interactions that can trigger rogue status. There will be 3 different states of going rogue depending on your actions. Minor devious acts in the environment will set you to grey rogue status and will allow opposing players that are nearby to track you down and attempt to bring you to justice. Any actions against fellow players will set you to red status, flagging you for more agents and increasing the timer before you will no longer be a target. Repeated rogue actions against other players while in the red state will eventually get you upgraded to the yellow rogue status and thereby make you a high priority target for every agent in the dark zone. In the standard dark zones, friendly fire will be off and you will not be able to accidentally shoot your squad mates or neutral agents. Further measures to increase the fairness and quality of life in the dark zone are the removal of hostile voice communication to cut down on toxic behavior, 2 anti-cheat systems to preserve the integrity of PvP, the addition of more servers, and a reworked client-server system. If this toned-down experience of the Dark Zone seems a bit too tame for you at first glance, fear not, because the Dark Zones will also go through phases of being occupied by powerful NPC groups. During the occupation phase, the potential rewards of that specific Dark Zone will increase, but so also will the risks. Not only are the NPCs more dangerous, but the Dark Zone will also revert to the classic mode you may know from the Division 1. No compression of weapon and ability damage, and friendly fire will be on. Alongside the hybrid PvE/PvP experience of the Dark Zones, the Division 2 will also launch with 2 dedicated PvP-only modes. Skirmish is a team deathmatch experience where 2 teams of 4 players go head-to-head. Each team has 20 lives in total, the initial spawn at the beginning and then 16 respawns, and the objective is to simply take out your opponents before they reduce your lives to 0 or the timer runs out. In Domination, 2 teams of 4 players fight over 3 cap points that must be held in order to increase the team's scores. First team to reach 750 cap points or to have the highest score when the timer runs out wins. Now, I think it's fair to say that most players of the Division are there to experience the story campaign and the cooperative endgame features, and that the dedicated PvP modes are more of a side feature for them. I can certainly say that that is my personal perspective, but nevertheless, I'm happy to see these 2 dedicated PvP modes included in the Division 2 at launch for 2 reasons. First of all, the devs shared with me an insight from the Division 1, and that was that as soon as they added the dedicated PvP modes into the game post-launch, the level of aggressive behavior in the Dark Zone was reduced somewhat. To me, that's a good thing, because as someone who tended to go into the Dark Zone either solo or as a duo, it was never a lot of fun to run into an organized 4-man squad that were looking to cause trouble. And secondly, I think that having dedicated PvP modes like this can also act as a great testing ground for certain character builds, or as a practice area where you can sharpen your skills a little before heading off into an occupied Dark Zone. All in all, for me personally, Skirmish and Domination are not going to be the reasons why I will be playing the Division 2, but I'm definitely glad that we will have the option of playing these modes at launch. Last but not least, there will also be an integrated clan system coming to the game that will make it easier for players to organize themselves into effective squads, which will of course be especially important once you head out on those 8-man raids. And those are pretty much all of the details I have for you right now. While playing the preview version of the Division 2 for this video, I also had the pleasure of getting to interview Matthias Carlsen, the game director for the Division 2. Keep your eyes peeled for this video coming to the channel soon. Until then, I'm going to leave you with some gameplay I recorded. What we've been watching in the background up until now is footage from early game Dark Zone engagements, and I'm going to let that run a little more. But I think it's also worth mentioning here that I've been a PC gamer for a long time now. The last time I played a console game was in 2011 on the PS3, so my controller skills are just a little bit rusty. I did actually improve quite a bit throughout the session, and maybe you'll be able to spot that, but yeah, the beginning was a bit rough. Feel free to laugh, it's definitely deserved.
Helo will depart in 30 seconds. Seconds and we're outbound. We're going in 15 seconds. 15 seconds and we're outbound. Finishing extraction.
Helo is returning to base.
We're out. All safe.
Extraction successful. A nearby agent has killed another agent. teammate needs assistance.
Next, here's some high-level Dark Zone action with characters that are leveled up more and have access to some really cool specializations and gadgets.
Incoming hostiles detected. Nearby agent has become. Nearby agent has gone rogue. Nearby agent has become rogue. Nearby agent has gone rogue. Nearby agent has killed another agent.
Take the shot while they're in the air.
Landmark has been cleared. Kilo almost at extraction zone.
Stop cheating, Agent!
Kilo at the extraction zone.
An outcast has fallen. Darn, it's not enough.
An agent has left your team. An agent has been promoted to team leader. An agent is now team leader. Nearby agent has gone rogue. Nearby agent has become rogue.
And finally, why don't we round off the video with a full match of Domination?
Charlie is now held by your team. Point Alpha is in enemy hands. Point Bravo is now held by your team. Point Charlie has been taken by the enemy.
Boost about to activate. Boost online. Soon deactivate.
Point Charlie was captured by your team.
Vital signs critical. Agent down. Agent killed. The boost is now offline.
Point Bravo has been captured by the enemy.
Teammate needs assistance.
Point Alpha is now held by your team. I've sent a specialization supply drop your way. Bravo was captured by your team. Point Alpha has been captured by the enemy. Specialization supply drop has expired.
Serious trauma detected.
The enemy is 50% of the way to victory.
Agent out of action. Agent vital signs 0.
Point Charlie is an enemy. Hands. Point Charlie is being held by your squad. Point Bravo has been taken by the enemy. Five minutes remaining.
Boost about to come online.
You're winning this. Keep going.
Boost now active.
The enemy is close to winning.
The boost is being taken by allies. The boost has been taken by allies.
Point Bravo is being held by your squad. Point Alpha is being held by your squad. Point Alpha is in enemy hands.
And that's it. As I mentioned, I have an interview video coming soon and a more in-depth look at the endgame features at some point after that. For now, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next episode.